Tonight, I invite you to drift with me into a quiet world of snowfall, mist, and ancient memory. A world shaped by winter winds, mountain forests, and the delicate presence of a spirit known across Japan, the Yuki Onna, the snow woman. Sometimes a goddess, sometimes a traveler, sometimes simply the hush of winter given form. Before we wander into her world, let us begin by softening the space around you and the space within you. Make yourself comfortable. Feel the support beneath your body. Maybe it's a bed, a couch, a warm futon laid across a quiet floor. Whatever holds you now, imagine it welcoming you like a soft layer of snow settling perfectly across the earth. Take a slow breath in, as if you're drawing in the crisp air of a winter morning. Gentle, cool, refreshing. And breathe out, as though releasing a small cloud of warm mist into the air, the way one might exhale on a snowy day, watching the breath dissolve into the peaceful white around them. Again, inhale softly. Let the breath rise like drifting flakes, unhurried, floating in their own time. And exhale, melting tension, melting the day, melting even the idea of effort. As you continue to breathe gently, imagine you are stepping into a tranquil winter scene, one untouched by harshness, no biting wind, only a soft, lulling hush, the kind of silence that winter alone can create. You stand at the edge of a forest path. The ground beneath you is covered in a thin blanket of snow, smooth and silky, like powdered sugar, dusted across a quiet world. Above you, slender branches cradle little crystals of light, each snowflake unique, each one glimmering faintly as the last hints of day fade into evening. Feel your shoulders lowering, your jaw loosening, your belly softening, as though the forest itself is inviting you to let go. With every gentle breath, you step a little further into this peaceful place. Your footsteps make the faintest sound, that satisfying, gentle crunch of snow underfoot, steady, unhurried, almost musical. And you notice it is not cold here. The air is cool, yes, but comfortable, like the perfect balance between freshness and warmth. You feel wrapped in an invisible cloak, a cloak woven from calm, stillness, serenity. In the distance, you hear a slow, drifting breeze gliding between tall cedar trunks, sighing softly as though carrying ancient stories on its breath. And now, as the world around you settles into this velvety quiet, I invite you to settle even deeper into yourself. Let's relax the body, slowly, lovingly, as though brushing snow from each part of you, leaving clarity, softness, ease. Start with your face. Let the forehead smooth, the space around the eyes soften, the cheeks loosen, the tongue rest gently in the mouth. Imagine a tiny snowflake landing on your forehead, cool and weightless, encouraging the muscles to melt into calm. Move to your neck. Let it soften, as though a gentle winter breeze is gliding across it, light, soothing, effortless. Let the shoulders fall, down and down, as if they were icicles melting in the soft glow of morning light. Feel this release traveling into your arms, down to your elbows, your wrists, your fingers, each part growing heavier and warmer, as if settling into snow that never chills, snow that welcomes you. Let the calm move across your chest, rising gently with your breath, falling gently as you exhale, like the steady rhythm of snow drifting from a quiet sky. Feel your back soften, each muscle relaxing. No need to hold anything. The ground, or the bed beneath you, is doing all the holding for you. Now your belly, let it expand softly with each inhale and loosen with each exhale, like a slow tide, or a drifting cloud, or a long stretch of snowy field breathing beneath its blanket of winter. Let the soothing weight travel into your hips, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, and finally your feet. Let them all sink into comfort, into stillness, into this peaceful landscape we are gently stepping into together. Your whole body is now resting like a smooth stretch of snow-covered earth, quiet, untroubled, bathed in pale winter light. Feel the silence settle. Feel your breath deepen. Feel the small movements within you quiet, like falling snowflakes choosing the perfect place to land. And now, as the body rests, let the mind grow soft as well, not empty, just soft, open, receptive, ready to wander gently into story. In a moment, we will begin our journey into the winter mountains of Japan, into villages wrapped in white, into forests where moonlight paints silver paths across the snow, and into the serene presence of Yuki Onna, a guardian spirit of winter, graceful, gentle, endlessly calm. But there is no need to anticipate, no need to reach ahead. The story will unfold like snow itself, flake by flake, moment by moment, quietly, tenderly, at a pace that cradles you toward rest. For now, just breathe, slowly, softly, deeply, in and out, like winter wind moving through tall pines. You are safe, you are warm, you are guided, and the night has begun to open its gentle pages for you. When you're ready, we will step together onto the snowy path of history, culture, and quiet myth, and meet the softly shining presence at the heart of this tale. As your breath settles into its gentle rhythm, let the world around you slowly take shape. A world woven from snow, from quietness, and from the long memory of winter. Tonight, we journey into the mountains of Japan, not the bustling modern streets, but the timeless landscapes that have existed for centuries. The ridge lines, the forests, the small villages tucked between valleys where winter arrives like a soft white spirit. Unhurried and eternal, these mountains, especially those across regions like Niigata, Nagano, Akita, and deep parts of Honshu, have long been home to countless winter tales. Stories whispered beside hearth fires, told by travelers seeking warmth, and passed down from one generation to another like snow passed from cloud to earth. Among these tales, one figure appears again and again, drifting through the snowy night. A woman made of winter itself, the Yuki Onna. But before we reach her presence, let us wander gently through the landscape that shaped her legend, the cultural threads that wove her into memory, and the quiet beauty of the winter world where she is said to appear. Imagine we are standing at the foot of a mountain path, somewhere in the deep interior of Japan, perhaps near the old roadways once used by woodcutters, hunters, and traveling monks. These places were called Satoyama, gentle borderlands between human life and untamed nature, where rice fields and thatched rooftops met cedar forests and long rivers carving their way through the valleys. In summer, these lands are vibrant, green and warm, alive with the calls of birds and insects. But in winter, everything slows, settles, softens. Snow falls thickly here, not in delicate traces, but in deep, cushioning layers that swallow sound and reshape the world. Villages become islands of warmth beneath the white sky. Roofs sigh under the weight of the season, and lanterns glow like tiny suns behind shoji paper. Travelers who journeyed through these mountains hundreds of years ago often described winter as both beautiful and daunting. The beauty lay in the shimmering landscape, the frost glistening on branches, the moonlight sparkling across the snowfields. But the challenge was real too, for storms could be fierce, winds unpredictable, and the path forward sometimes lost beneath fresh drifts. In such conditions, people sought meaning, guidance, and companionship in stories. For when the world outside was a kingdom of ice and whispering wind, the imagination naturally awakened to wonder what else might wander these snowy roads. Let us walk together now, step by slow step, along an ancient winter path. Each footstep presses into the soft snow, making a gentle sound, the quiet crunch, steady and soothing. Before us spreads the winter countryside, the world wrapped in white, cedar trees rising tall with heavy branches, their dark needles carrying pillows of snow. Here and there, bamboo bends low beneath the weight, graceful arcs against the sky. Every shape is softened, rounded, gentle, as though the land has been sculpted from powdered silk. A river flows nearby, its surface half frozen, its edges decorated with thin lace-like ice. The sound of water murmurs beneath, a low whisper, steady, constant, a heartbeat beneath the winter hush. We follow the river for a while, the air crisp but not biting, just cool enough to make every breath feel like a fresh beginning. And as we walk, we begin to sense the profound relationship that people of old Japan felt with nature. For in Shinto beliefs, the natural world is filled with kami, spiritual presences that inhabit waterfalls, ancient trees, mountain peaks, and quiet forests. Winter, too, has its kami, spirits of snow, frost, and icy wind, some gentle, some mischievous, but always carrying a sense of mystery. Among these spirits, the Yuki Onna stands out, not as a figure of fear, but as a symbol of winter's purity, transience, and quiet beauty. As we continue down the snowy path, the sky gradually darkens into evening, not sharply, but in a deepening gradient of twilight, lavender, pale blue, and a soft silver glow that seems to rise from the snow itself. Here, in this gentle dusk, lanterns begin to flicker within distant homes, tiny glowing squares of warm gold. The air grows still, the kind of stillness that feels sacred, as if the world is holding its breath. And in this stillness, we feel the presence of history itself. For centuries, winter life in these regions revolved around warmth, storytelling, and community. Families gathered around irori hearths, listening to the crackle of burning wood, cooking simple meals, sharing tales to pass the long nights. The winter was long, but not lonely, for people filled it with meaning, and of all the tales told, the stories of Yuki Onna were among the most cherished. Not terrifying tales, but gentle ones, sometimes sad, sometimes protective, always filled with the soft melancholy of winter. For in many villages, Yuki Onna was believed to guide travelers, to watch over lost children, to appear on nights of deep snow, to ensure that those wandering the mountain paths did not lose their way. Her figure, tall, pale, robed in white, was not simply a ghost, but a reminder of winter's dual nature, beautiful, delicate, and yet ephemeral, like a snowflake that dazzles for a moment before melting away. Let us step deeper into the landscape, leaving the river behind and moving toward the rising foothills. Here, the snow lies thicker, and the world grows even quieter. The only sounds are the soft rhythm of our breath and the distant sighing of wind slipping between cedar trunks. Above the trees, the first stars appear, tiny pinpricks of cold light shining through a thin veil of cloud, and far overhead, the moon begins to climb, a pale disk, glowing with a silvery radiance that spreads across the snow like spilled moonlight. This moonlight, soft, diffuse, and shimmering, is the light most often associated with Yuki Onna. In countless old tales, she appears beneath a wintry moon, her form blending with its glow, as if she were carved from light itself. And as we walk beneath this rising moon, you might begin to feel that same quiet presence, a sense that the winter night is watching gently, as if a spirit woven of snowflakes and moonbeams lingers somewhere nearby, not frightening, but serene, curious, perhaps following our steps with silent grace to understand her legend more fully. Let us pause for a moment at a small stone bridge crossing a narrow mountain stream. The bridge is old, its stones softened and curved by centuries of weather, and its arch now dusted with a perfect layer of untouched snow. On either side stand tall pines, their branches drooping under the weight of the season. Across this bridge lies not only another part of the mountain, but another chapter of history. For winter spirits like Yuki Onna appear in literature as far back as the Edo period, in the works of traveling monks and early folklorists. They recorded stories they heard from villagers living deep in snowy regions, stories that carried generations of memory, woven from the experiences of people who lived close to the land. In these tales, winter was not merely a season, but a living presence, a teacher, a companion, sometimes harsh, but often gentle, beautiful, and worthy of reverence. Yuki Onna emerged naturally from this worldview as a figure who embodied winter's essence, her pale form echoing the delicate purity of the landscape, her calm movements mirroring the slow drift of snowfall, her ephemeral presence reflecting the fleeting beauty of the season itself. Some believed she was a kami, a minor goddess of snow, walking among humans to ensure balance and harmony. Others saw her as the spirit of a woman who transformed into a being of winter after passing away in a snowstorm, becoming part of the eternal cycle of snow, melt, and return. But in nearly every version, her presence was gentle, slow, melancholic, a quiet figure wandering through the stillness of winter nights. We continue our journey, crossing the stone bridge with slow, measured steps. The snow beneath us glows faintly with moonlight, each step leaving a soft impression, temporary, soon to be covered by fresh flakes drifting from above. On the far side of the bridge, the path curves upward, leading into a forest of ancient cedars. This is the kind of place where, according to old stories, Yuki Onna was most often seen, not in crowded villages, not in bustling market towns, but in these quiet borderlands, where human presence fades into the vastness of nature. The trees here are enormous, their trunks thick, their bark dark and deeply textured. Some of them may be hundreds of years old, having witnessed countless winters, the forest feels alive, not noisy, but aware, as if the spirit of winter itself has settled into every branch and root. We walk slowly, breathing in the cool air, listening to the hush, feeling the soft powder beneath our feet. And as we walk, let us imagine the people who once walked this same path centuries ago. Travelers carrying bundles of firewood, monks journeying between remote temples, villagers searching for herbs and mushrooms even in winter's quiet months. These people walked with a deep respect for nature and a sense that they were never truly alone. For the mountains, the rivers, the forests, and the snow were companions, each with its own presence, its own quiet voice. And in the quietest moments, when the moon shone bright on the snow, some swore they saw a tall, graceful woman in a pale kimono, gliding over the snow without leaving footprints. She seemed to drift like mist, her long black hair flowing behind her, her skin the color of fresh snow, her eyes soft, calm, filled with the tranquil melancholy of winter nights. They called her Yuki Onna, and though her appearance was fleeting, her presence lingered in memory, like a dream one cannot entirely forget. Now, as we approach the heart of the forest, we begin to sense the shift, a deepening, as if the night itself is preparing to unveil something. The trees open slightly, revealing a small clearing where the snow lies untouched, smooth as a silk cloth spread beneath the moon. And in this clearing, the air seems to shimmer ever so faintly, as though touched by something gentle, magical, ancient. This is where the legend begins to take form, where the boundary between story and landscape grows thin, where winter's presence becomes almost human, almost familiar. Soon, in the next part of our journey, we will step into the first half of the main legend, slowly, softly, following the quiet path of a traveler whose fate intertwines with that of Yuki Onna herself. But for now, simply breathe and let the snowy night settle around you, like a calm blanket woven from silence, moonlight, and the ancient memory of winter. Settle a little deeper now. Let the calm expand. Let your breath drift like slow snowfall. For we are about to step gently into the heart of the winter story. The first half of the tale that binds a traveler, a quiet night, and the presence of Yuki Onna, long ago, in the deep interior of Honshu, where mountain ranges fold into one another like layers of white silk. There lived a young woodcutter named Mosaku and his apprentice, a gentle young man named Minokichi. Their village rested at the foot of a snowy valley, surrounded by towering cedars and winding rivers, a humble place where winter arrived early and lingered long. Life there was simple, guided by the rhythm of the seasons, and shaped by the quiet endurance of its people. But the winter of this story was a winter of unusual stillness, deep snow, soft skies, and moonlit nights that seemed to glow from within. On one such day, Mosaku and Minokichi set out at dawn to gather wood from the forest across the river. They carried only what they needed: simple tools, warm cloaks, and a small pack of rice and dried roots. The air was fresh, the sky pale, the snow sparkling under a soft morning light. As they walked, their footsteps traced a slow pattern behind them, two lines stretching back toward the village, like brushstrokes across a white canvas. The forest grew denser the farther they traveled, trees rising like ancient guardians, their branches heavy with snow, their trunks dark and solemn. The two men moved steadily, yet peacefully, their breaths rising in faint puffs that dissolved into the crisp air. Minokichi felt a contented stillness settling around him, as if the winter world were embracing them gently, inviting them deeper into its quiet heart. They worked through the morning, cutting small fallen branches, gathering bundles of firewood, speaking only when needed, for in the mountains, silence was not emptiness, but a companion, a presence, a teacher. But by late afternoon, a pale mist began to creep between the trees, slowly, silently, curling around trunks, softening the world, as if the mountain were exhaling a long, cool breath. Mosaku paused, lifting his gaze toward the hidden peak above them. "It seems the river wind is rising," he murmured. Minokichi nodded, feeling the shift in the air, knowing that mist could mean a storm or nightfall coming too quickly. They gathered their tools, tied the bundles, and began the journey home. But the forest was vast, and soon the mist thickened, swirling around them, softening every familiar landmark. Evening descended faster than expected, and the snow began to fall, slow, steady, quiet, with the world fading into white. Mosaku and Minokichi searched for shelter, their steps cautious, their breath growing colder. At last, they found a small hut near the riverbank, a fisherman's shelter. Simple, weather-worn, but strong enough to guard against the storm. Inside, the air was cold and smelled faintly of river reeds, but it was still a refuge. Minokichi closed the bamboo door, and the faint wind outside softened to a distant sigh. They sat together, sharing a little rice, warming their hands beneath their cloaks, listening to the river's low murmur beneath winter's breath. Minokichi felt sleep tug gently at him, but Mosaku warned softly, "We must not sleep deeply. The cold can steal our strength." Minokichi tried to remain awake, but the hut's stillness, the rhythm of the river, and the gentle fall of snow lulled him slowly toward dreams. His eyelids grew heavy, his breath slowed, and the world blurred into softness. Some time passed, minutes or hours. He could not tell, for winter nights often stretched like long strands of silk. But then, Minokichi stirred, awakened by something he could not name, a shift in the air, a faint shimmer, a delicate coolness brushing his skin. He opened his eyes, slowly, carefully. Moonlight seeped through the cracks of the hut, casting pale threads of light across the floor. Mosaku slept beside him, still as stone, unmoving, but Minokichi's attention drifted to the doorway, where a faint white glow seemed to gather, soft, silent, shimmering. At first he thought it was snow drifting in, but then the shape grew clearer, forming the outline of a tall woman, clad entirely in white, her kimono flowing like snow-laden silk, her hair, long, dark, cascade over her shoulders like a river of shadow. Her skin glowed with a pale radiance, the color of snow in moonlight. She drifted forward, not stepping, not disturbing the floor, as though she floated on a thin veil of mist. Minokichi felt no fear, only awe, a quiet, trembling wonder. The woman paused beside Mosaku, leaning over him with a calm, unreadable expression. A soft breath escaped her lips, a breath cold as ice, yet delicate as falling snow. A thin shimmer of frost drifted over Mosaku, gentle, peaceful, like a blessing, like winter accepting him into its timeless rest. Minokichi watched in stillness, his breath quiet, his heart slow. The woman then turned toward him, her eyes meeting his, deep, calm, filled with ancient winter. She regarded him in silence, and the entire hut held its breath. When she finally spoke, her voice floated like a drifting flake. "You are young." Her tone was not stern, not cold, but soft, melancholic, gentle. "It is not your time to sleep as deeply as he," she whispered. Her gaze swept over him, seeing not just his face, but his spirit, his quiet heart. "You saw me, and yet you did not fear." Something softened in her expression, like a faint thaw beneath winter sun. "I will spare your life," she murmured, "for your heart is calm and open." Her words drifted around him, light, cool, wrapping him in an aura of winter silence. "But you must never speak of this night." Her voice grew even softer, almost invisible. "Not to anyone, or the snow will return to claim what it spared." Minokichi nodded, not out of fear, but from understanding. The woman watched him for another long moment, her eyes filled with a quiet, ancient sadness, as though she already knew that this would not be the last time their paths crossed. Then she glided backward, toward the door, her form fading into the moonlit mist, and like a snowflake touching warm air, she disappeared, leaving only silence behind. Minokichi remained motionless, wrapped in that fragile stillness, until dawn's pale glow slowly entered the hut. When light finally filled the room, Minokichi turned to Mosaku and saw the old man lying peacefully, as if lost in a gentle dream, but no longer breathing. A soft sorrow rose in Minokichi's heart, not sharp, not violent, but quiet, like frost melting beneath morning sun. He whispered a farewell, gathered his cloak, and stepped outside. The storm had passed. Snow lay smooth and untouched across the land, glittering under the pale dawn sky. Minokichi walked slowly toward the village, each step sinking softly into the new snow. The memory of the winter spirit he had seen hovered gently behind his thoughts, like a presence walking beside him, silent, calm, unseen. He told no one of that night, honoring the vow he had made, holding the memory deep within him, like a delicate crystal that could easily melt. As winter gave way to spring, the presence of that night drifted deeper into his heart, softening, but never disappearing. Yet life returned to the valley. Snow melted from rooftops, streams danced brightly down the slopes, and new greenery unfurled under a gentle sun. Minokichi worked, laughed, shared meals with neighbors, and lived quietly. But sometimes, walking alone at dusk, he felt a cool breeze pass by, lighter than wind, carrying a whisper of moonlit snow, a reminder that winter had not truly gone. One spring afternoon, as Minokichi followed a familiar riverside path, he saw a young woman standing by the water. Her kimono was pale, white with a faint blue shimmer, soft as lingering frost. Her long black hair flowed gently down her back, her posture serene, her presence warm, yet bearing an echo of winter's quiet. She turned as he approached. Their eyes met, and something inside him stirred. A recognition without memory, a soft echo, a thread pulling gently. She smiled, calm, gentle. "My name is Yuki," she said, and though Minakichi did not understand why, the name touched something deep in his heart, like a snowflake landing on warm skin. From this meeting, their story would begin. But that belongs to the next part. For now, let this moment settle softly, like snow, finding its perfect place on still earth. When you are ready, let us return, slowly, gently, to the snowy mountains where our story continues. Minokichi has returned to his village with a memory he could not share, a secret woven from moonlight and winter breath, a promise spoken by a spirit as soft and quiet as falling snow. Time has passed, seasons have changed, and new chapters of his life have begun to open, like early spring buds pushing through the last drifts of snow. Let us step into that unfolding now with soft steps and a calm heart as the second half of the tale reveals itself. Weeks passed after that winter night, and though Minokichi worked, spoke, laughed, and lived among his fellow villagers, a small part of him remained gently elsewhere, lingering in that moonlit hut, in the presence of the winter woman whose voice he could not forget. Her words drifted through his mind like pale snowflakes, never melting, never fading. "You must never speak of this night, and I spare you, for your heart is calm." Sometimes, when he walked alone along the river at dusk, he imagined he felt a cool breeze brush past him, lighter than wind, more like a memory moving through the air. But spring came, softly and tenderly, the way it always does in mountain valleys. Snow receded from rooftops, bamboo straightened again, small boats returned to the river, and gentle green shoots began to emerge throughout the Satayama paths. Life warmed, softened, brightened, and gradually, the presence of the winter spirit drifted deeper into Minakichi's memory. Not forgotten, but resting quietly, like frost beneath new grass. One afternoon, in the early warmth of spring, Minokichi walked along a familiar mountain path lined with mossy stones and small streams trickling down from melting snowfields above. The air was cool, fragrant, filled with the scent of cedar bark warmed by sunlight. Birdsong moved gently through the branches overhead, each note like a pearl falling into silence. As Minokichi followed the trail, he noticed a figure ahead, a young woman standing near the riverbank, looking out at the flowing water, her posture relaxed, her presence quiet, as if she belonged naturally to the gentle light around her. Her kimono was simple, white with the faintest hint of pale blue, like the last piece of winter lingering in a spring day. Her long black hair fell down her back, smooth and shining. She turned as he stepped closer, her eyes deep, calm, reflective as the river. The moment their gazes met, something quiet stirred inside them both, not quite recognition, but a soft thread of familiarity, as though their spirits remembered what their minds had forgotten. The woman smiled gently, a serene, calming expression, and spoke in a voice warm and soft. "I am on my way to the village. My name is Yuki." Yuki, a name that touched something deep within Minokichi, a small, shimmering echo, like a snowflake brushing the surface of a river. They spoke as they walked, about the river, the forest, the mountains awakening into spring. Her words flowed with gentle pauses, soft breaths, a warmth that contrasted beautifully with her pale appearance. Minokichi felt drawn to her, not suddenly, not sharply, but in a slow, peaceful unfolding, like morning light spreading across a quiet valley. When they reached the villagers welcomed her kindly, pleased to meet a gentle traveler with a calm presence. Soon she began helping a local family, sewing, cooking, mending small things, sharing her soft, warm smile. Minokichi visited often, sometimes with small excuses, other times simply drawn by her company. Their conversations were unhurried, lingering quietly in the air, like drifting petals carried by spring wind. Time passed, and spring blossomed into summer. The valley came alive with warmth and sound, rivers gleaming like blue silk, rice paddies shimmering beneath the sun, cicadas humming in steady waves, bamboo rustling softly in warm breezes. Sometimes, Yuki would pause during a walk, turn her gaze upward toward distant snow-capped peaks, and fall into a deep, quiet stillness. When Minokichi asked if anything troubled her, she smiled gently and said, "No, sometimes I simply hear the echo of seasons." Her answer was soft, mysterious, but tender. Before long, Minokichi knew his heart had grown deeply intertwined with hers, not in a sudden burst of passion, but through small moments, shared silences, gentle companionship, a love that grew the way snow gathers quietly on a still night. One warm evening, beneath the glow of lantern light, Minokichi confessed softly, "I feel at peace when I am with you, as though I have known you far longer than these months." Yuki listened in silence, her eyes reflecting the lantern's soft glow, and after a long breath, she spoke. "I feel the same, as though our paths were always meant to cross." And so, with quiet blessings from the villagers, they were married in the golden calm of an early autumn morning. Their home was small, resting near the edge of the village, where cedar forests brushed against open fields and a narrow path wound toward the mountains. It was a simple house, but warm, filled with gentle light and the soft rhythms of daily life. In time, they welcomed children, bright-eyed little ones, with warm laughter and faces that glowed faintly in winter moonlight. Their home filled with joy, with the patter of small feet on tatami mats, with soft giggles drifting through morning air. The years passed softly, like snow melting into spring water. Minokichi worked the land. Yuki tended the home, and together they raised their children with love and gentleness. The winters during those years were always strangely mild. The snow fell softly, storms were gentle, winds quiet. Villagers often remarked how peaceful winter has become since Yuki arrived. And though they never said it unkindly, they noticed something different about her. Her skin remained pale regardless of the season. Her breath never clouded in the cold, and her light footsteps barely disturbed fresh snow. Minokichi noticed too, but asked nothing, for trust had been woven deep between them, and he loved her exactly as she was. Years drifted by, as quietly as winter nights. Until one evening, many winters later, the story changed. Outside, snow tapped softly against the shutters, a gentle flurry drifting down from a silver-clouded sky. Inside, the hearth glowed warmly. The children slept peacefully, and Minokichi sat mending a small wooden tool. Yuki sat nearby, sewing, her hands moving gracefully in the quiet of the evening. The room was calm, filled with the faint crackle of the fire and the soft breathing of sleeping children. But then, a certain feeling stirred inside Minakichi, a pull from deep within his memory, an ache woven from moonlight and frost. As the wind whispered outside, the memory of that long ago night returned. The small hut by the river, the pale woman drifting through moonlight, the soft voice that had spared his life. Without intending harm, Minokichi spoke aloud, almost to himself, his voice distant, dreamlike. This night reminds me of a winter long ago, when I saw a woman, a spirit perhaps, pale as snow, who spared my life. As soon as the words left his lips, the room fell utterly still. The fire's crackle softened. The wind outside paused. Even the shadows seemed to hold their breath. Minokichi looked up. Yuki had stopped sewing, her hands resting softly against the cloth, her eyes fixed on him, wide, still, filled with a quiet sorrow. She did not speak, but her silence carried the weight of seasons shifting. The lamp flickered, casting a pale shimmer across her face. And in that light, Minokichi saw something familiar, a soft glow, like moonlight on fresh snow. He felt his breath catch, his heart tremble. "Yuki," he whispered. She lowered her gaze, a tear shimmering at the corner of her eye. "Yes," she breathed. "I am that woman, the one you saw in winter's storm." Her voice trembled softly, not with anger, but with ancient sadness, like the sigh of wind through frozen branches. "I told you never to speak of that night," she said quietly. "For the worlds of humans and spirits are separated by thin, fragile snow." Minokichi opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. Yuki looked toward a room where their children slept. "And in living here," she whispered, "I have come to love your world, its warmth, its tenderness, your gentle hands, the laughter of our children." Another tear fell, clear as melting ice, but now her voice softened to almost nothing. "You have spoken the memory aloud, and I cannot remain?" She lifted her gaze, meeting his eyes with a tenderness that broke softly inside him. "I leave you the children," she murmured, "for they are human, and they belong to your world." Minokichi felt his heart shatter in a quiet, aching way, not loud, not violent, but like thin ice cracking on a still pond. "Yuki," he breathed. "I never meant to." She raised a gentle hand, silencing him with a soft motion. "I know," she whispered. "Your heart is good, and that is why I cannot harm you." Her breath trembled, like winter wind carrying the last flakes of the season. "If we were of the same world," she said, voice breaking softly, "perhaps we could have walked through every season side by side." Then, as the lamp flickered once more, Yuki's form began to fade, not suddenly, but gently, as though her body was becoming moonlight, mist, snow, soft, silent, inevitable. Her final whisper lingered in the air. "I will always watch over you, from the winter, and then she was gone. The room grew quiet, filled only with the faint sound of snow falling outside. Minokichi sat for a long time, eyes lowered, hands trembling softly. But eventually, he rose, checked on the children, and whispered into the cold night, a farewell carried by love. Outside, the snowfall eased, clouds drifted apart, and moonlight spread across the village in a soft silver glow. A glow that felt like a farewell, but also a blessing. Though Yuki never returned in body, Minokichi felt her presence often. In the gentle way snow fell, in the softness of winter winds, in the kindness of each passing season. Their children grew strong, graceful, with eyes that glimmered faintly beneath moonlit snowfall. Villagers would whisper, "Winter is kinder around that home," and smile knowingly. Some said that on quiet winter nights, a pale figure could be seen standing among the cedars, watching over the family she once held close. Others claimed that when Minokichi grew old and walked alone beneath a snowy moon, he saw her again, a soft silhouette beneath the trees, smiling gently, before fading once more into drifting snow. But all versions agree, her love never vanished. It lingered, soft as frost, warm as memory, quiet as snowfall. And thus, the tale ends, not with fear, but with tenderness, with love that transcends worlds, with winter's gentle breath touching the human heart. Settle once again into the soft quiet of this story. Let your breath drift slowly, in and out, like a long winter wind passing through tall pines. We have followed the gentle path of Minokichi and the tender presence of Yuki Onna across snow, across moonlit nights, across seasons and memories. Now, let us wander more deeply into the meaning behind this tale, the symbolism woven into its snow-white threads, and the way the legend is lived on, quietly, gracefully, in the hearts of people across Japan and the wider world. The story of Yuki Onna, like winter itself, is a blend of contrasts, softness and melancholy, warmth and cold, presence and disappearance, beauty and impermanence. But beneath these contrasts lies a deeper harmony, a reminder that life, love, and the world itself are made of both the fleeting and the eternal. Just as a single snowflake melts, yet winter returns each year, so too does the story of Yuki Onna continue to drift through time, changing shape, but never disappearing. Let us explore this meaning gently, slowly, as though tracing patterns in fresh snow. In Japan, winter has long been associated with stillness, reflection, and the quiet space where thoughts settle, like flakes falling on a silent field. The presence of Yuki Onna is often seen as the embodiment of winter's introspective side. She appears at night, in solitude, wrapped in pale radiance, moving with the calm of a world at rest. She mirrors the human heart, especially its quiet places, the parts filled with longing, memory, and unspoken tenderness. Her story reminds us that winter is not a barren season, but a pause, a breath, a chance to listen inwardly. When snow falls, sound softens, movement slows, and the heart can hear its own voice again. Yuki Onna, with her serene presence, is a poetic symbol of this inward turning, this stillness, this delicate beauty found only in silence. One of the quiet truths carried by this story is the Japanese concept of mono no aware, the gentle sadness, the tender awareness that arises from recognizing the impermanence of all things. Cherry blossoms fall, autumn leaves drift away, snow melts, warm nights fade, and moments slip quietly into the past. Yuki Onna embodies this transience. She appears only briefly, brings wonder, connection, and softness, and then, like winter itself, must vanish. Her departure is not cruel, it is natural, like the turning of seasons, the slow warming of spring, the inevitable cycle of life, the love between her and Minokichi, gentle, honest, deeply felt, cannot remain in the form it first takes. And yet, its beauty lives on, in memories, in children, in the quiet warmth she leaves behind. Yuki Onna stands between two realms, the human world and the spiritual world of nature. In Shinto tradition, mountains, rivers, forests, and seasons each hold their own kami, their own quiet breath. Yuki Onna is one such presence, a spirit of snow formed from winter wind and moonlight, walking among humans for reasons the heart feels but cannot fully explain. Her love for Minokichi and her longing to live in the human world show the delicate boundary between nature and humanity, a boundary that is close, yet impossibly far. The story reminds us humans and spirits cannot fully merge, just as humans cannot stop winter from melting or spring from arriving. And yet, there is beauty in their meeting, in the brief moment where their worlds touch. The gentlest versions of the tale reveal Yuki Onna not as a figure of fear, but of compassion. She spares Minokichi, not because she must, but because his calm spirit touches hers. She becomes a wife, a mother, a guardian. Her eventual departure is not a punishment, but a sorrowful necessity. Even in the unknown, there can be love, tenderness, and unexpected mercy. Snow appears throughout the story, as setting, as metaphor, as silent companion. Snow is soft but powerful, cold but capable of deep beauty. Snow hides, but also transforms. Yuki Onna, being made of snow, is linked to silence, reflection, transience, purity, and the gentle ache of things that do not last. When she melts into the night, it echoes the melting of winter, not as tragedy, but as change, a shift, a continuation. Though the tale is ancient, its presence remains strong in Japan today, in winter festivals, in artwork brushed with pale blues, in poems whispered about moonlit snow. Artists paint her as ethereal, soft, serene. Poets compare her to frost and moonlight, to loneliness and longing, to the fragile edge of dreams. Travelers walking snowy forests still speak of sensing a gentle presence, not frightening, but protective, a breath of winter watching from between cedar trunks. Yuki Onna remains timeless because winter remains timeless, both returning year after year, softly, quietly, beautifully. Each season teaches something. Winter teaches stillness. Spring teaches renewal. Summer teaches fullness. Autumn teaches letting go. Yuki Onna, as winter made human, embodies the wisdom of her season. Stillness does not mean stagnation. Coldness does not mean absence of love. Silence does not mean emptiness. Winter is the rest that allows spring to bloom. Her story invites us to embrace our own winters, the pauses, the quiet nights, the moments of reflection before life begins again. At its heart, the tale is a love story, a quiet love woven from shared mornings, gentle hands, soft glances, a love that cannot remain in the shape it begins with. Yet it lives on, in their children, in Minokichi's memories, in the way winter stays soft around their home. Love does not always stay, but it always leaves warmth behind. Today, her legend appears in books, films, paintings, songs, and gentle winter stories told to children. She drifts through the modern world as she drifts through the mountains, quiet, unhurried, eternal. Her presence reminds us to value silence, to honor the beauty of fleeting things, and to let winter teach us how to rest. As part 5 closes, let these meanings settle softly inside you, like snow coming to rest on still earth. Breathe gently, deeply, quietly, for the final part awaits, a slow good night, a gentle farewell, and a soft drift into sleep. The snow-covered mountains of Japan fade softly behind you now. The cedar forests dimming into a peaceful dreamscape, the river slowing to a quiet whisper, and the pale glow of Yuki Onna dissolving into a calm, white mist. She leaves behind only serenity, and the promise that winter, no matter how cold, also carries beauty, gentleness, and the space for the heart to rest. As you drift into sleep, imagine the night sky opening above you, stars shimmering like tiny crystals of frost, moonlight spreading across your thoughts in a soft silver haze. You are safe here, held, carried, wrapped in the quiet magic of story, the ancient hush of snowy forests, and the tender breath of a winter spirit watching from afar. Let sleep come naturally, softly, like snow falling without sound, slow, steady, inevitable. Let your breath guide you into dreams, in and out, a tide of calm, a rhythm older than mountains. And as your mind drifts into its gentle night journey, carry with you only softness, only peace, only the quiet glow of winter moonlight. Sleep now, rest now, dream gently, wrapped in the embrace of stillness. Good night, good night, good night.